Welcome. If you've ever wondered how the yogis view things like anxiety and depression, then today's episode is for you. I'm Tina Nadiak, renowned yoga teacher as well as leadership coach, and thanks for joining me today. So, the first thing that I want to share with you is that the yogis have a little bit of a different model with psychology, and they absolutely had a model of psychology. Now, when you think about your own experience about anxiety or depression, what is the dominant thing that you notice, aside from things like panic attacks and the physical sensations? What do you notice in your own mind? Well, what you might notice is that there's a lot of repetitive thoughts. There's things, anxiety comes with anxiousness, which is usually worry, planning, it's future-based, but there's a lot of repeating thoughts that are cycling over and over and over again, invasive thoughts. And with depression, it's very similar. So there's these repeating scenarios, living in the past, rumination, going around and around and around. So the yogis talk about really anxiety and depression being two sides of the same coin. There's still this repetitive action to it. So with with anxiety, those repetitive thoughts are future-based, and with depression, they're past. But it's two sides of the same coin. Now, the way that they view the mind is that the mind is a process. It's not who you are. And if you're having a hard time wrapping your head around that, if you close your eyes for a moment, I'll invite you to just notice what's happening inside of you. Notice the types of thoughts that are here, what you're thinking about. Okay, now open them. Were you able to notice what you were thinking about? Yes, of course, right? So if you're able to see it, you're not it. There's something outside of you that's watching that. So this is the basic principle, that you are not your thoughts, and that if you can witness something, then you obviously can't be it. So the thoughts are what we call, it's a process. It's something that's happening. And you've probably heard this quote as well, which is or you may not have, but that the mind is a terrible master and a wonderful servant. So if you can gain control of your mind, you can make it work in the way that you want to. However, if it's in control, that's when things like anxiety and depression set in, because it just takes over, and then you're subjected to whatever it's thinking about or whatever it's doing. So those types of thoughts, those invasive thoughts or recycling thoughts, they have a name for that, which they call samskaras. And essentially, they're a habit of thinking. So the more you think about something, the more, if you imagine it like a muddy road and you're driving around in circles, that groove gets deeper and deeper and deeper, and you become more embedded, and it becomes a little bit tricky almost to get out of that rut once it's created. So you can imagine it like a rut. And so it's just easier for that habit, just like all habits, it's always the path of least resistance to keep cycling through. Now, of course, there's things that you can do to shift that. The yogis have their own methods like meditation and stuff like that, but there's also a lot of new research that supports the shift of habitual thinking into helping your mind become the master rather than the servant again. Neuroscience has a lot to help with that, as well as positive psychology. And a big piece of that is changing what you focus on, so you can change your habituated thoughts into ones that you want to be habituated thoughts, like gratitude and happiness. So if you're interested in learning more about how you can overcome or rapidly reduce your anxiety, I should say, you're welcome to click the free download below of the Perfect Day exercise, which is the first step that you need in starting to lower your anxiety. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and you're welcome to add your comments below. Follow this channel if you find this useful, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.